Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. It's time for a base game mansion. A couple of videos ago I was already promising you a base game build, but then I got early access to Nando's Asian Adventures World mod, so I just had to build something Japanese themed. I felt instantly inspired, so I just started to work on this build, but here finally I can present you another base game mansion. Base game is just amazing because first of all, everyone can use it. You don't need any packs, and of course I didn't use any CC. You don't need any mods for this, so this is a true base game build. I just used a lot of debug objects, which is where you might spot a couple of things that don't really look base game, but I promise you these are just base game debug objects, no CC or anything. And also, not only can anyone use it, but it's also super challenging to work on a base game build. It's a lot of fun, it's great to make it look special, so it doesn't even really look like base game. And this sounds weird because the base game is amazing. There are so many objects, and over the years we got a lot of patches. So many new objects were added to the base game, and the base game just got better and better over time. So it sounds weird to say that it's kind of the main objective to make it look like a non-base game build. But yeah, I mean, base game is great, but at the same time, it's like, for me, the fun is to make it look so special that it looks, yeah, almost like as if I used some packs or anything. So I really used a couple of fun tricks, and I tried to come up with a truly special, fun base game build for you guys. So here at this point, I'm already working on the build itself, but in the very beginning I was working on a round shape, and anyone who's not new here knows that I'm obsessed with round shapes. When I'm working with all packs, I really like to use either the spot monolith for a look like this, or the get famous pristine pedestal. So here I had to find a substitute for these two objects, and I used a base game debug column, a concrete column, for the curved shape on the outside. I would have used the spot monolith if I would have worked with any packs here, and the get famous pristine pedestal is just a really small white cube. There are also other swatches, but I really like to use the white swatch for modern builds, and here I just used a base game nightstand, which is also basically just a white cube. So I just had to find just a replacement for these two objects, and I really wanted to use my style, the style that I prefer for many modern builds. I just tried to find objects to replace them, so I was able to create a true KateEmerald modern build, but it's just base game basically. And as I said earlier, I wanted to make this really special, so I had to come up with a couple of tricks, so I created this round shape. So I want to tell you guys how you can create a round shape like this yourself, in case you have no idea, but I want to quickly mention the glass pool because I just worked on this pool. So there is a foundation in this game which is a debug foundation, and it turns a regular foundation completely translucent. When City Living came out, this foundation was originally included in this pack, so you needed City Living to have this foundation, but then a couple of months ago they finally added this translucent foundation to the base game. It's completely identical with the City Living foundation. There's no difference, so if you own City Living, it doesn't matter. You can either use the City Living one or the base game one, and this is great for anyone who really enjoys base game builds, for anyone who only owns the base game. By adding this translucent foundation to the base game in a patch, they finally gave us the ability to have these beautiful glass pools in base game builds. So what you do is you simply build a foundation, then you can apply the translucent foundation color, and then you just add a pool to it. You have to keep a couple of things in mind. First of all, for some reason, and I noticed this, when you add the pool first, sometimes it's not letting you add the translucent foundation color to the foundation in the pool. So first, build your foundation, add the translucent color, and then add the pool. I don't think that this was an issue before, really. I've made a couple of tutorials about this, and this was never an issue. And then I started to receive a couple of comments about not being able to apply the translucent foundation color. And yes, it seems to be an issue. I'm not sure if this bug or issue was introduced in the patch that added the translucent foundation color to the base game, or if this bug occurred with another patch. I have no idea, but I noticed this myself when I was working on this build. So make sure to build the foundation and apply the color first. And also when you apply a color to a foundation or when you add an exterior trim to a build, when you hold down shift, you can only apply these things to a certain part of the house, one wall for example. So when you hold down shift and then you apply a color, you only apply the color to the foundation on one side, for example, on the left side. But you have to keep something in mind here when you want to change the foundation color. So you have built your little glass pool and you've applied your translucent foundation color, and then you want to change the color in other parts. You can hold down shift, but sometimes it's still changing the color of the pool. And what you can do is you can build a wall so you have a separation between the glass pool and the other foundation areas, and then it mostly works. If this doesn't work, you can just build a foundation somewhere. You just place your foundation somewhere on your lot. Then you just increase the height and then you apply the color you want. I don't know, let's say a dark gray, just like the gray that I used here in this build. And then you just pick up your foundation and you place it exactly over your already built foundation. Basically, you just replace it and it's just going to change the color. It's not going to affect the stuff that you've built above, so you can just change it. And this is a little trick that I like to use here because it can be a bit finicky to work with these glass foundation colors. You don't want to build your glass pool, it's finished, it looks beautiful, and then you just ruin it by applying a color. I mean, you can easily fix this, but this is just a little word of advice when you are working on a pool like this. And I used a debug object in between these two pools. Technically, this is only one pool and they are also connected, so your sim can swim through this little divider. It just looks cute. It's like a wall, like some type of concrete wall once again, and yeah, I just placed it in the center. I wanted to create a unique pool shape and I had no idea how to go about this, and then I just used it. So it looks like two pools, but technically it's one pool, and I also included another one in the back, so there are many pools in this build. It's a really luxurious mansion with a lot of stuff going on. So let's talk about the round shape that I created in the front of the build using some debug columns. If you want to do this yourself, the first thing you have to do is switch to the Sims 3 camera. You can do this in the top right hand corner. You can switch between the Sims 4 and the Sims 3 camera. And then you simply hold down Alt on your keyboard, you press your left mouse button, and then you move the mouse and you can rotate objects freely. And then you simply work out a curve like this. I mean, I say simply, practice makes perfect. You have to practice this a couple of times. I've also made a tutorial about this, so if you need an in-depth explanation for this, I always link my tutorial playlist down below in the description box, so you can check it out if you want to. And there I just explain step by step how you can do this. You also have to activate the move objects cheat. If you are a little bit advanced in building, then you know what I'm talking about, but if you need a little guide, you can check out the tutorial playlist. And I just changed the whole color scheme. I had no idea what to do. Like when I'm working on a modern build, I always like to use a lot of white and gray, and then I use a bit of wood here to add a bit of warmth, and this is what I like to do. And here I just changed it to a minty blue color, which is beautiful. And here I'm working out another round shape, and I really like to use a round rock to have a little guideline. So I just use it to trace my shape, and then I just get rid of the rock. And I can totally recommend it, not only for base game builds. Just place a round rock if you want to create a beautiful round shape, and it's just super easy. You can follow its shape, and this is what I did here. And the object I place is also another debug object. It's just some type of little stone slab that can be placed on the floor. You can use it to create some beautiful paths. Again, not only for base game builds. There are so many amazing objects in the base game, and you can just use it to decorate your houses, especially on the exterior, in my opinion. And here I also added a couple of debug columns and these little planting pots, these square planting pots that you can see here. I used another debug object that it's just like a glass cube, and I placed it on top of this planting pot, and then I used the tool mod to just lower it a little bit. In case you have no idea what the tool mod is, you can use it to not only place objects off lot, you can also use it to lower and to raise objects. It's just an amazing mod. Here you just saw how I placed the glass cube, and I have also made a tutorial about the tool mod. And once again, you can just check out the tutorial playlist down below if you want to. And and I just had to adjust the position of these glass cubes. They were a little too high, and then they had the perfect position, and it's just a small detail, but it's all about the details, as I like to say, and it just makes these planting pots look so much more special and modern. And here I'm using some tool magic once again. I placed some of the white base game shells right in front of the windows, and then I used the tool mod to rotate them 90 degrees, and this way they are in front of the window like some type of shutter. There are similar windows which are part of Get Together, I think, but again, this is a base game build and I wanted to make this look a little bit unique, so I just made these windows myself using the tool mod. I think it looks really great, and it was another little detail that made the whole build look so much more special in my opinion. The whole color scheme is totally different here than the color scheme that I used in the beginning. I used this minty color, which is just so beautiful. I added a lot of white, and the build looked so much more dark in the beginning, and then I changed the color and it looks really fresh and minty. So indeed really fresh. So it looks just so much more modern and white and just so bright and happy, and these white shelves in front of the window just were another little detail that was, I don't know, just something was missing, and this was just the perfect addition to this build in my opinion. And here I just added another round shape using a base game nightstand. I just followed the round shape that I initially created in the beginning of the video, and then I filled in the gap with a pool, just a regular pool. I wouldn't recommend using a fountain for this. You cannot place a fountain underneath anything, and this would probably cause some issues, so just use a regular pool. Your Sims shouldn't be able to get in, so for stuff like this, when you get really creative and crazy with any kind of water addition, a water feature, always use a pool, so much easier. And I added a little base game fountain on the right side, so I have this round shape. I also did this for the other planting pots in the front, so I just once again added more stuff, also a chimney, and here at this point the build is really coming together, and I just had to work on the back of the house. I mean, after I finished working on the front section, I already knew into which direction the whole build was going, and then in the back you basically just have to mimic what you did in the front. You already made your decision which windows you want to use, the color scheme and all that, so you just have to finish the back. So at this point it's really smooth sailing in my opinion, and you just have to finish the build. So this is what I did here. There is not really a proper garden, but a terrace in the back, like some type of patio situation. There wasn't really enough space for a garden, and I don't know, it just felt natural to add a little patio. And I added some stairs which are leading to the rooftop, so there's some, just a roof terrace, and I sectioned off this area at the bottom because the stairs lead to the outside and the light would be off, so I just added a little hallway at the bottom. You will later see what I'm talking about when I'm furnishing this. And here I'm just working on the outdoor area. I added these debug base game hedges and a lot of stuff, and the patio has this triangular shape, which is really cool in my opinion. I also added a triangular pool and just an area to hang out, to sit, to have a barbecue, to just sunbathe, stuff like this. I also added this controversial base game hot tub. I mean, the hot tub was added for the 20 years anniversary of The Sims, and a lot of people hate it, but no matter what you think about the 20-year anniversary situation, it's still good that we finally have a hot tub in the base game. This wasn't possible, so now we have hot tubs in base game builds, which is once again amazing for anyone who only owns the base game. So the style of this hot tub doesn't really fit to the rest of the house, but we only have this one. I would have preferred a much more modern one, just like the one that we got in the, I think it was the Perfect Patio stuff pack, but I mean, it's okay. I just hid it in the back, so it still kind of works. And let's talk about what's new in The Sims. So Simgore Frost tweeted that there might be a blog post next week. He said that they are trying to get the blog post out, so we will see if there's something new, if there will be some type of announcement. I think it's interesting that it's a blog post and not a video, a trailer, a stream. I don't know. I mean, a stream would make sense at the moment, of course, but I don't know, maybe a video. I have no idea. We don't know what might happen. I'm really excited for this. Still hoping for a farm pack, so we will see what's going to happen next week, hopefully. And regarding this channel, what's new, I'm still working on the little video for the Asian Adventures World mod, where I'm showcasing the world and I'm giving you a tutorial on how to install the mod. I just squeezed in the base game build because I had promised you this one even before the Japanese build, so I really wanted to post this and get this out because I know that some of you were waiting for the base game build, so I squeezed the base game build in between the Japanese build and the tutorial for the mod. So yeah, here we are with the base game build, and other than that, I'm still planning to have the shell challenge soon, but let me know if you guys would like to have a challenge now or later at some point, because I know that a lot of simmers have put out shell challenges at the moment, which totally makes sense because so many people now have a lot of free time and shell challenges are fun and just makes sense. But I don't know, there are so many shell challenges at the moment that I don't know if you guys are all busy working on other shell challenges at the moment. I don't know if you would like to have a shell challenge now or at some later point, but I will be down to have another shell challenge with you guys, so just let me know in the comments down below if you would be up for that at the moment. And here I'm working on the interior. Base game interiors are always something different for me. The interior in general is quite challenging for me, and I always try to make it look as beautiful as possible. But I mean, base game is base game, and you have to be really creative, and I think it's super difficult to create different styles using just the base game. I know that there are some base game experts out there. Some builders only work on base game builds most of the time and create these beautiful exteriors and interiors. I think it's really difficult, but also a lot of fun, because the fact that it's difficult makes it fun. It's a fun challenge for me. So I worked on this kitchen and I wanted to incorporate some elements which are also, again, a little bit different and interesting. I had placed some shelves at the wall, and I used the same method that I used for the shelves in front of the windows. I placed the shelves and then I used the tool mod to rotate these shelves 90 degrees, and this way they are flat in front of the wall, like some type of backsplash that you would see in a kitchen. And then I just placed a mirror in the center, so just directly behind the stove, just to make it look more interesting. The color scheme is once again really modern. I also wanted to incorporate a bit of warmth, so I used this wood floor and some brown on the walls, and this here is the living room. I used a half wall so I would have a place to place my TV, because I used windows all around this room, which makes it really beautiful and sun flooded, but at the same time I just wanted to have the TV in the center. There was space on one of the walls where I just placed the painting in the background, but I really wanted the TV to be centered, so I would have this sofa in the center of the room. Of course, I used a base game sofa and I just placed them inside each other, so the sofa goes around the corner. Just activate them with object sheet if you want to do stuff like this, and you can place them, and the sofa is still functional, not in the corner, but all the other areas of the sofa are still completely functional. I also placed a desk in the corner. And this house is really big. It has 6 bedrooms, and 3 of them are like typical kids' rooms, and 3 bathrooms. I mean, in hindsight, there could have been more bathrooms, but there is 1 bathroom on each floor. And I just wanted to incorporate a lot of bedrooms, because sometimes my houses are super big, but there aren't that many bedrooms. But here I really wanted this to be a proper base game family mansion. So you have space for 6 Sims or 7 if you have like the typical parents and kids situation going on. There's a lot of space. This here is the bathroom, and in the bathroom I had the situation that the shelves that I placed in the kitchen were like lurching into the wall, and they were visible from the other side, so I just decided to embrace it and I incorporated them in the bathroom. I placed a mirror behind the bathtub, and this bathroom, it's like really big and kind of weird. The whole layout is super freaky and I tried to make it work, so I placed just the bathtub in front of the wall so I could incorporate the shelves, and I placed these curtains at the bottom so other Sims wouldn't be able to just peek into your bathroom. I mean, I know that this isn't really a thing, but a lot of people like to keep it realistic, and a lot of Simmers don't really like when you have huge windows inside a bathroom without using proper curtains. To me, thinking of these things is always fun because my builds aren't really that realistic, but I just have to think of these little elements. And this is one of the bedrooms. I decided to place the bed in the corner of the room, and then I had no idea how to really position the nightstands. These are the same nightstands that I used on the outside to create this shape, this round shape. So yeah, these are the nightstands. In case you missed that earlier, these are the nightstands that I recommend for creating these round shapes. And if you don't own Get Famous, then I would just use this nightstand. But if you own Get Famous, I'd always recommend to use the Pristine Pedestal personally. This is just personal preference, I guess. And this is one of the kids' rooms. So now I'm working on these 3 kids' rooms, and there are some additional bedrooms in this house. As I said, there are 6 bedrooms in total. There are 3 stories in this house. I just didn't include all the bedrooms because, as always, the video just got longer and longer. But of course, it's fully furnished, CC free, it's unmodded, and I just used a lot of debug objects. I already mentioned this. And you don't have to activate these cheats to use a lot like this. I always recommend to activate the move objects cheat. You should probably always do this when placing something from the gallery, just in case, because sometimes stuff can disappear, especially when it was built using the move objects cheat. So this is the one cheat that I recommend activating before placing my lots, but you don't need other debug cheats. Like, this stuff is just included. You don't have to activate the cheat, just place the lot and everything should be there. And this is it, guys. This video is slowly coming to an end. As always, I have included a lot of screenshots, including some screenshots from above, so you can see the floor plan, and you can find this build in the gallery. As I said, my ID is KateEmerald, but you can also find other information down below in the description box, including all the tutorials that I mentioned in this video. And as I said, let me know in the comments down below if you want to have a shell challenge now or later, and I hope that you have a perfect week. Thank you so much for watching, stay safe and well, and I hope I see you in the next video. Bye bye!